What is up, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time, Thursday edition, and notably a free edition of Crunch Time. So shout out to all the regulars in the Discord. Shout out to everybody hanging out in the YouTube chat as well. I'm going to be pulling questions from both, and I'm going to be feeding those questions to these two baseball geniuses right here. We got Dre first up. What's up, Dre? How are you?
What's going on? Doing pretty good. Hanging in there, trying to figure out this slate. Hopefully, give some people some good plays to make some money tonight and do well.
Okay, well, I like your chances. I think that's going to go well. We also have STL Cards, Justin Van Zuiden. What up, Cards?
Hey, what's going on? It's a beautiful day, kind of a quiet slate tonight. So, and it's also a pretty clear-cut slate as far as the obvious plays. So, not going to be a boatload of surprises. And when there's only 4 games, there's not a whole lot you can do to be super different. But we got a couple tricks up the sleeve tonight. We'll see if they work out. And yeah, it should be some fun. Always fun talking baseball.
Okay, well, hopefully you mentioned a few surprises. Hopefully weather is not one of them, because I don't expect we're going to have any issues with weather. There's a couple little storms right around Cincinnati. It's unlikely that one of them ends up over the ballpark. It's certainly within the realm of possibility. Could it happen? Sure. Would it shock me? No. But I think the probability is low enough that you should just play it as is. I think most of the rain that we've seen in Cincinnati is starting to wind down as opposed to storms popping up. So I think it's unlikely we get a pop-up going over the ballpark there. And a couple other spots with, in St. Louis or New York, could you theoretically get a shower to go over the ballpark? Sure. Realistically, are you? No. So it's all good to go in the weather department. And that means we just lean on you guys to help figure out what we're going to do. And before we get into pitchers, we should note that right now, if you sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, a lot of people hanging out in the YouTube, if you sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, you get $10 off your premium subscription for the first month. And that's whether you do the combo for all the sports or just pick one sport. NFL's coming up. If you want to pick NFL, it doesn't cost all that much, and you get $10 off. So go ahead, sign up for RotoGrinders Premium. Devin will, tell you how to do that or put the link in or do something special. He's good about that. Cards, you got to tell us what we're going to do about pitchers here. You said you can't get too sneaky. So what are you doing?
Not getting sneaky with the pitchers. There's really only 3 viable arms. I like Zach Thompson quite a bit as a sneaky option, but he's not pitching now. The Marlins have pulled a switcheroo on us. So Neidert is starting and he is not an option. So like the Dodgers are going with a bullpen game tonight, so you can't use them. You're not using former Cardinal who was traded for Jay Happ, John Gant. You're not using him tonight. The team playing against him has a 6.5 run total. So you're not using Gant. You're not using the Dodgers. You're not using Neidert. Some people look like they're going to be using Lester. We've got Lester at 10%. That's just nuts. You're not using Lester. You're probably not using Walker against the Dodgers, though I suppose that's not crazy. That leaves you with 3 guys. And the 3 chalkiest pitchers on the board, Castillo, Woodruff, and Taillon. I mean, it's easy enough on DK because the prices aren't that high. Woodruff is only 9,200 and Castillo is only 8,500. Just play both of them. Like I could even see building, 100 lineups and using those 2 as your pitchers on every single one. And then, you just differentiate with your bats. Like there's simply no other viable options at pitcher tonight. So the Brewers are being a little more cautious with their starters now, and Peralta got hurt last night. So, that is maybe a slight cause for concern with Woodruff. For that reason, I prefer Castillo if choosing between the 2, but it's clearly Castillo and Woodruff at the top, and then Taillon is your only cheap option. And, that's about it. That's literally all the pitchers pitching tonight.
Dre, do you agree with that? That there's only 3 guys, or do you have a 4th or 5th that you're sneaking in a couple lineups?
No, that's pretty much it. I don't particularly like John Lester too. The only person I might sneak in there is Taiwan Walker. I go against the Dodgers just to take some shots and see what happens. GPPs, but it's a long shot nonetheless. But those are definitely the top pitchers. I probably look to get overweight on the lowest of the 3, which just look like it's going to be Talion. So I'm going to probably be overweight more so on him than anyone else, just to, like I said, be a little bit different than the field if I'm playing like big tournaments tonight.
Okay, well then let's get different in the old hitter spot here. So let's talk about some of the bats. I want to talk stacks before we go position by position. So Dre, is there a chalk stack that everybody's doing, and is there pivots off that, or is it kind of spread out tonight?
Yeah, well, Cars, quick question. With Grant, do you think he's going to pitch more than like a couple innings? He's going to be go 5 or 6?
He's probably only going to pitch 2 innings regardless because he's so bad. So even if they want him to pitch longer, he's just not very good.
Because now I'm thinking about it. Like, first of all, New York is the chalk stack of the night, and me personally, I know when New York is chalk, they never do well. They never perform well, at least when I play them. So my theory is maybe you play Grant a little bit and hope that he goes more than 2 innings and makes it through more than 2 innings. And because New York does, because the Yankees do have a high strikeout rate, a lot of strikeout rate in their lineup, and only have one guy in the starting lineup that we're looking at right now with a strikeout rate of 16%. That's Rizzo. Everyone else is about a 25% or above, except for Tyler Wade, who's at a 20%. So I like probably maybe Grant a little bit in TPPs because you never know, he might go a little bit longer. I know he's not doesn't have the highest strikeout rate himself, but he could maybe get lucky in the fall to some, especially on this type of small slate. That could be a way to get different for sure. But yeah, the Yankees are the top stack definitely on the slate for sure. And for the right reasons, going against that pitcher in Grant. But a team that I really like a lot, I like getting to probably like Cincinnati a little bit more, which their ownership might come up a little bit now since the pitching had changed. But if not, if it stays about the same, I love being overweight on them for sure. And then getting to another team that I know Cards is going to talk about a little bit tonight. I'll let him talk about that one.
Okay, Cards. First off, where do you stand on the Yankees? Is this good chalk and you're gobbling it up, or is this chalk that you're trying to avoid here?
I mean, it's chalky for a reason. Like the team total is 6.5. Usually don't see that outside of Coors.
But on the small slate, are you just saying, okay, I'm with it?
Absolutely. Like in a single entry build tonight, I think you fade the Yankees and take your chances. And the good news is I'm on Team Mets, so we pivot to the other New York team. And that's the late game. So it's the late night hammer. We can see how the Yankees do at 7:00. And if the Yankee chalk busts, then we got a shot here with our late night hammer and the Mets. And look, it's not like the Mets are this great team. They've disappointed all year long. They've got members of their front office coming out and posting mean tweets and all that stuff.
So weird.
And they're just, they're not very good. They're banged up again. We have to keep an eye out for their lineup. Alonso got hit by a pitch in the 9th inning yesterday, so he might be out. Baez is out. Lindor is out. Like they're very injured. But the Dodgers are rolling out a bullpen game. They're rolling out, basically a string of relievers tonight. And yes, it's hard to stack in those spots, but this is also a 4-game slate. And if you look at the screen share now, all of the Mets hitters right now, we've got under 5% ownership on DraftKings on a 4-game slate. Their team total is like 4 runs, and it's not great, but I don't want to stack the Cardinals against Woodruff. I don't really want to stack the Marlins right now. The Twins are going to be a little chalky to be super contrarian. So look, they're not facing a great pitcher, and they're all 5% owned or less. I don't know what else you could ask for on a 4-game slate. So the Mets are, for better or worse, the ship I'll ride and probably die with tonight.
Right. And this is fully understanding that you think the likely outcome is that the Yankees outscore them and it is not great, but
for sure.
Ownership.
75% of the time the Yankees are the play. But they've also got 10 times more ownership. Like you've got Judge and Gallo in the 50s. for ownership. So, if you played this slate 100 times, I think you'd win a GPP more often with a Mets stack than you would a Yankee stack, simply because the Yankees are going to be so popular and you have to hit everything.
Yeah.
You hit the night that the Mets score 7 or 8 runs at that low ownership, but and it's the late night hammer. I can root on the team after my kids go to bed, and if the Yankees only score 2, that's the thing. It's almost just as bad sweating out the Yankees, hoping they don't go nuts at 7:00. But from a process perspective, I like the Mets tonight.
Okay, and then one more question before we go position by position. Is this the kind of slate where you're trying to avoid one-offs? Let's say you're staying off the Yankee chalk and you're going somewhere else, whether it's Minnesota or the Mets, like you said. Are you avoiding one-offs from New York at all costs because they're going to be so elevated?
I mean, not necessarily. Like, I think you can go with, maybe one of the lower owned guys like Stanton or Odor. Judge and Gallo are the two that I would probably avoid as one-offs because they're going to be like 50% off. So Judge and Gallo I would probably avoid as one-offs, but the rest of them I think are okay.
Okay, great. Let's go position by position. We do have a couple of strategy questions coming in. We'll get to those as well in a little bit. But let's start at catcher here. And Dre, I'll let you lead us off. Excuse me. I'll let you lead us off. What is it that you're liking or at least tolerating at the catcher position?
I really like picking on John Lester, so I'm going to get to Manny Pena in this lineup a lot. Add a little bit low ownership. I'm going to specifically more gear towards GPPs, and that's what I'm playing, because you got obviously play like the guys at the top like Will Smith, and Ryan Jefferson, who's going to be somewhat chalky too. And Tyler Stevenson, who's going to be major chalk at the position. But I like definitely targeting more so Manny Pena. That's one of my favorite. Get different plays, and like I said, to get to John Lester at 11%. And if you even want to get really different, if Chance Cisco is in the lineup for the Mets, because I like what Carson was talking about today, playing the Mets, and that's I think a great strategy today. Especially with me knowing how the Yankees tend to fail sometimes and don't put up as many runs as they're projected to. I'd like that option and playing a little bit of Chance Cisco. He's 2K on Fanduel at catcher spot. He could be perfect in your stacks. And he's cheap enough where you can get another couple other big hitters in your lineup too.
Great. Cards, what do you like at catcher?
Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out for that Mets lineup. I just looked while Dre was talking, still not out yet, but fine with whoever's in the lineup there, obviously as part of your Mets stacks. Smith is my top play. I like the Dodgers a good bit too. He's hitting 5th tonight. Their lineup just came out before we went on the air, and it's so deep top to bottom. And Taijuan Walker he's really struggled lately. He was okay in his last start, but otherwise the numbers over the last 2 months are just really bad. So, I think Smith and Stevenson are my top plays kind of in that order, but I like the Pena and Cisco and, even Alex Jackson, if you're not on Castillo, to get a little different tonight.
Okay. Take us to first base, Cards.
Yeah, so first base, obviously a lot more plays here. You've got Moustakas on DraftKings. The Reds are probably your number 2 offense tonight behind the Yankees. Rizzo, Muncy, and Luke Voit. I mean, those are all really strong options. I like Eduardo Escobar as a pivot in tournaments. He's not going to be super high owned because he's 5,600 on DraftKings, but Lester isn't going to blow the ball by anybody anymore. Escobar is hitting 3rd. In the middle of a dangerous lineup, and the Brewers are playing really well right now. So Escobar would be my GPP pivot, and Alonso if he's in the lineup. But I'm not banking on Alonso for what it's worth right now. It was pretty ugly when he got hit yesterday. He's listed as day-to-day, but unless we see him in the lineup, I'm not banking on Alonso playing until we see it.
Okay. Dre, what do you like at first?
I like everything Carr said. The only person, I don't know if you mentioned Joey Votto, but at 10% ownership. And I think because of the pitching change, I think he's going to probably benefit from this a little bit more than the other hitters in the lineup. So I like Joey Votto a lot. And that was the only guy I would add to that. Everyone else, I like what Card said.
Okay. Then take us to second base.
Obviously Max Muncy. I don't know if you mentioned him too. You said like the Dodgers, but Max Muncy obviously also is a top play. But Joey Votto was way to get different from him for sure. But when you go to second base, Muncy could obviously still be played there too as well. So I like getting to him. Kelton Wong, it's only going to be 1% ownership. I know it's lefty, but I still think he could hit the ball really well against John Lester, who really is not pitched well, even though he's had a decent game. I think last game he pitched out. Other than that, he's back to being the old John Lester who should probably just retire, I can say at this point. But I definitely love getting to Kelton Watt at 1% ownership, even as a one-off or even as a part of your Milwaukee stacks. And that right there should be maybe make you different because everyone's going to be playing like guys like Urias, who I think is also a phenomenal play. And I like again to Diaz, Isan Diaz a little bit too against Castillo from Miami, who's another sneaky team that I like a lot too.
Okay, Cards. What do you see at second?
Yeah, India would be another guy in there leading off for the Reds. If you're on them tonight, Velasquez is your 2K punt for the Yankees. The Twins are too cheap still on DraftKings, and Polanco, Arias. We've got them both in the single digits right now too. I'm not super high on the Twins against Tyon, but you can certainly take them as one-off values. So this is actually a pretty deep position. I mean, on DK, you can play Trey Turner at second also. So lots of options here, and I don't mind going cheap. I don't mind spending up. You got lots of multi-position eligibility as well, so you can pivot some of these guys to short or third, or in Muncie's case, you can play them at first. So you're probably playing multiple of these guys. You just got to work around the positions a little bit.
Okay. Well, you just mentioned third. So are you playing one of these guys at third, Cards?
Yeah, I mean, you could play Escobar at third. You could play Urias for the Brewers at third. Odor is third base eligible now for the Yankees on DK. He's going to be kind of your chalky punt tonight, but he's only 200 cheaper than Donaldson. I'm not a big Donaldson guy anymore, but like he's only $200 more than Rugi Odor. Donaldson makes sense there. But Justin Turner would be my top play at the position. The most of the guys there that are second base multi-position eligible are second and short, not a whole lot of second and third. And third really isn't that strong of a position tonight. So Donaldson or Turner probably in most of my lineups, or Escobar.
Dre, what do you have that's different from that?
Definitely like into Chris Taylor as a little bit different righty matchup against Walker in your Dodger lineups.
Who was that? I'm sorry, I missed the name.
Chris Taylor,
Chris
third
Taylor.
base.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So and then Luis Arias in Minnesota coming at if he's really going to be 5% own, I like that. That should be I think a little bit higher but I understand what the way the lineups are and also the position being stacked, and you having Josh Donaldson there as well, who's another great option today. That's where the ownership is going to probably go towards. So I like that, and also getting to JD Davis, and obviously part of your Mets stack, who, like I said, who's a sneaky team that Cards also talked about today.
Yeah, I like him too.
Okay, let's go to shortstop, Dre.
Obviously, we mentioned Trey Turner, who plays second and shortstop, so he's definitely the top option at the position. I actually do like getting to. We didn't mention him before, but Andrew Velasquez, a part of the Yankee stacks. I know he's coming at 9% ownership, which is low for him, but that you can play him with the bottom half of the lineup, which most people tend to not do in stacks. So I like doing that and mixing it in so that way you can get different in GPPs, and that'll help out a lot too as well, to help mitigate some ownership. And Kyle Farmer, that's another play too that I like.
Okay, Cards, shortstop.
Still waiting on that Mets lineup, so that's going to keep that ownership down, even though that game, you got plenty of time to pivot in that game. Just leave yourself some outs. Particularly if you have Alonso, you make sure you have a couple guys so you can swap around, and can always swap to a Dodger too. So obviously Turner at short. Willie Adames has been probably the best midseason acquisition from any team with the way he's played for the Brewers, and Corey Seager. I mean, those are 1, 2, 3 at the top. Probably a position that most people are spending on. Velasquez as the punt, as I mentioned, at second, and Dre mentioned there too. And Kyle Farmer, I think really interesting as a contrarian play. Kind of in that you're going to see most people either going up for one of the 5K guys on DraftKings or 2K for Velasquez. So Farmer at 3,500 kind of falls into a bit of no man's land there. So I don't mind that.
Okay, that brings us to the outfield. Cards, what are you doing?
So the Yankees, again, popular, and kudos, by the way, Roth. I think we have more time tonight because it's 4-game slate, and we've
Mhm.
still got 15 minutes. But kudos on the over call, by the way, in the Field of Dreams game. I did not mention that to you earlier this week when we were on. So
Thank you. The hashtag corn sweat narrative.
corn sweat narrative worked out
Yes,
for
it
the
did.
easy
Thank you.
over. And I mean, that I get it. It's like some people that weren't super fond of that game thought that MLB was like making a big deal out of it, just trying to use it for media promo. But that game was super fun.
It was
And I know the
amazing.
game worked out, with the walk-off homer and the big comeback and all that. Made it more dramatic. Like you could play another game there and it'd be like 5-1 and just
Right.
another
It'd be less
baseball
fun.
game. But I don't know, something about seeing the homers laying in the cornfield and
Oh, I'm with you. It
kinda
was
that
awesome.
it was pretty cool. Just thought of that since we had the Yankees tonight. So the Yankees are the chalk. Judge, Gallo, they're the chalk. The Reds are kind of secondary chalk. Like Naquin is hitting second tonight, and he's still 2.3K on DraftKings. Castellanos, like those 4 guys, Judge, Gallo, Naquin, and Castellanos, we have as the top 4 in ownership on DraftKings by a fairly wide margin. So, and it's not that anything beyond that is contrarian. I mean, we got quite a few other guys above 20%, but Cody Bellinger won't be as popular because he's hitting 8th again tonight. Jesus Sanchez, I like as a value for the Marlins. If you're not on Castillo, he's hitting cleanup. Young guy with a bunch of power. Good leverage play if you're not on Castillo. And again, the Mets, depending on how their lineup looks, Conforto, Nimmo, Dominic Smith, those would be my favorite contrarian plays.
Dre, what are you doing?
Yeah, he pretty much named everyone.
Named all the guys.
Yeah, sorry, only
All
4
the-
games.
Only 4 games, but he named all the guys that I love today. So I have nothing to add there, really, honestly. I like playing all those guys. Only person that we're looking at that I might be on a little bit more, a part of the Dodgers on him, and that's because he was added to it, was AJ Pollock. I'll probably try to get some of him in your lineups because I think he wasn't a part of the original projected lineup. So he will probably tend to go a little bit lower on as part of when you go into your stacks for sure.
Okay, excellent, guys. We have done all the things. Oh, we need either who is your home run pick, or if it's a pitcher, who is the guy you're most overweight on? Dre, you can go first. Who are you most overweight the field on, you think?
Well, see, if I was playing tonight, I would be probably most overweight on John Grant, just because I know how the Yankees can get. I know it's not a smart play, but them and the Mets, as Cars had mentioned before, those are 2 plays that I would tend to be overweight on for sure.
Yeah, Roth, I can't give you an answer till I see a lineup from the Mets. I have no idea who's going to be in there tonight, but
some guy on the Mets.
Rest assured that will be somebody in the middle of the order for the Mets.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll TBA on that. Maybe the lineup will come out in the next 10 minutes. But like, if you're just playing home run hunting contest tonight, or you're in like a survivor pool where you need home runs, like Yankees are the obvious picks there.
Okay. All right, let's get into some of these questions. By the way, Dre, are you in the Fanduel World Fantasy Live
Yes, I am.
Final? That's amazing. When does that kick off? Is that tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm actually here right now in the hotel. Checked in about an hour or so ago, but yeah, it's kicking off tonight. But tomorrow we're going to be at the Coors game. This Saturday's going to be the live final itself, and then followed by nice little fan fest that they're going to have on Sunday with a performance by the Chainsmokers.
Man, okay. First off, congratulations. That is awesome.
Thank
Second, good luck, man. I mean, that sounds like a hell of a weekend, and I hope you take it down.
Thank you. I plan on it.
Now you said I like the confidence. You said you weren't going to play for a couple of days because you want to be in the right headspace for the live final. But I believe I also heard you say you're going to the Coors game tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you got to put in some stacks to the Coors game tomorrow if you're going. It's just a rule.
I know it is a rule, but they're playing Arizona though, so we know how that outcome's going to be.
Rules are made to be broken, I suppose.
Yeah. And we also have, let's see, we've got Christy who has it. Squirrel is in it. And Cal.
And Cal, yep.
Right, I left off our fearless leader, Cal, in it as well. So that's awesome. Got some good representation from RotoGrinders there at the live final. For those of you who are in the YouTube chat, you might be thinking, wow, these RotoGrinders sure know their stuff. And that's right. They do. That's right. Well, I hope one of you guys takes it home for real. That's fantastic.
Yeah,
Let's
for
get
sure.
into some of these QQs. We've got about 10 minutes left. I will start with, yep, that's me. He says, I've got two of the best RotoGrinders tournament minds on crunch time. Agreed. Do you guys give full 5-man stacks on 4-game slates? So do you guys full 5-man stack on a 4-game slate? Cards?
Yeah, I mean, these are the slates that are more prone to stacking because if one team scores 12 runs, like you need to have the exposure to that team. So the smaller the slate, the more the stacks generally become viable.
Okay, great answer. Jay, any interest in a Milwaukee stack tonight in a DK single entry?
Yes, definitely. I like Milwaukee a lot today. I would just make sure you play whatever you do as your secondary stack. It's going to be something that's not too high owned because they're in the middle of the pack right now. Ownership, I think they're the projected third most highest owned team on the slate.
Okay, great. Chinatown. Oh, yep. Nope. Just talking about the corn sweat. NBA says FanDuel Cash cards Naquin or A Garcia facing cards good old buddy Lester.
Yeah, Naquin isn't as necessary on FanDuel. The salary cap's a little looser, so Garcia.
All right, DK Cash here. Let's see, Dre, you like India and Naquin or Donaldson and Kepler?
I'm gonna say India Naquin.
Okay.
Change.
All right. Mellow Rose says cards on FanDuel. What are the 4 Mets bats you prefer? I realize we don't know what Mets bats are in, so maybe we can't answer that right now.
Yeah,
we can't, but Alonso has to be in there if he's playing. We don't know that yet, so TBD on Alonso. I'm trying to load up because I actually have one lineup. So my dummy lineup right now has Nimmo, Dom Smith, McNeil, and Conforto in it. So, I mean, basically, you're going to want to lean towards the guys at the top of the order.
Okay, great. Boston Sid says, hey, cards, is it viable to play the Yankees bats? I'm sorry. Is it viable to fade Yankees bats in a single entry 50-person tournament?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, in single entry, yeah.
Hell yeah.
You can definitely can.
Yeah. Shannon says, Dre, what's more likely tonight? Lester being a viable pitcher in DK or the Marlins hitting Castro?
More likely is Marlins hitting Castro, I think.
Okay, great. Interest in a Brewer stack. We got that one. Eric says, if you use 2 of the 3 pitchers cards that we talked about, there's only 3 good pitchers. Should you stack against the other one to get some variance? That's a hell of a question, Eric. I love it.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, I probably wouldn't do it if I wasn't tolerant of a lot of risk and, understanding that the outcome most likely is that it's not going to work, but you're also going to have not a lot of ownership on those bats. So I don't mind that.
Okay, great. Shannon says, what do you guys have Nick Neidert projected for in DK? I don't know who that is.
It's
or
the
where
new
he
pitcher
is.
for the Marlins. I mean, we've got him projected at 7 points.
7.
He's really not a fantasy option.
Doesn't sound good. Yeah. All right.
On FanDuel, I guess that's probably closer to 12 points. Let's see. 17 points on FanDuel, but
okay. MP says, hey, any other home run picks besides Yankees? I've already overused them in my home run pool. He's not allowed to use Yankees, so he needs someone else, apparently.
And the righty power for the Brewers is in a good spot. Like, again, the Mets are okay. But like Eduardo Escobar and Avi Garcia would be a couple.
I like Joey Votto today.
I like it. Okay, great. Steve O says Marlins mini stack because why not? You're kind of okay with that, I think.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Because Castella's gonna be one of the popular pitchers. They can no matter how bad the Marlins are. I have to say this: they do hit sometimes. I don't know why, but they do, and it bothers me sometimes that they sometimes want to be this good team when they're not really that great of a team. But it happens. So if you want to play for variance and you can tolerate it, do a mini stack for sure.
Nice. Okay.
I saw a tweet earlier from Action Network. Did you know The Orioles have have lost 15 games in a row, and worse than that, they haven't covered plus 1.5 runs in any of the 15 games. So they've lost 15 consecutive games by multiple runs.
Yikes.
And it was, if you took a $100 bet, I believe it was 100, and rolled it over every time betting against the Orioles plus 1.5 for all those 15 games, you'd have like $987,000 now. But yeah,
crazy.
so the Marlins, I guess, are still a rung above that. And like Dre
Yeah.
said, they'll sometimes pop when you don't expect them to.
That is garbage. All right. DK Cash, 2 turnips and heat cards. You want India or Polanco at second?
Cash. I think Polanco's fine in cash.
All right. Jay says, DK single entry, Milwaukee stack with the top 2 pitchers or Castillo Walker with a Cincy stack.
I'm gonna. It's a single entry.
Yes, DK single entry.
I think Milwaukee against Leicester. See, that makes it tough. But I'm gonna. You got to go to be different. I'm gonna say the second one for GPPs because a lot of people are gonna be on Milwaukee more than they're gonna be on Cincinnati. So that's my choice.
Okay. All right. Beaner says FanDuel GPP cards, is a Dodger stack a bad idea? It sounds like a really good idea to me. They're good.
Yeah, I like the Dodgers. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
In terms of me being overweight, like they're right there with the Mets. They're not going to have. They'll be owned because there's only 4 games and they're the Dodgers, but not to this mega chalk level.
Okay. All right. I'm putting you on the spot with some gambling knowledge here. I don't know if you guys looked at any props or anything. Beat Boz says, what is your favorite MLB prop play tonight? Grant, if you're in the chat, all Grant does is just smash prop bets. So Grant, if you're in the chat, help him out.
Yeah, he does the old strikeout prop bets all the time, and he's just ridiculous with them. I wish I could have that skill, but
you got any prop bets that you saw? I don't know if you even looked at this before we got on.
No, I didn't. Let's see. Castillo's strikeout prop, and I did notice this one earlier, but Castillo's strikeout prop is 7.5. Which I know it's the Marlins, but like that's a lofty number. He hasn't had a super high strikeout rate this year. That feels a little high. So Castillo's like my favorite pitcher, but under 7.5 strikeouts, I suppose that's a nice hedge for me against Castillo, being in a lot of my lineups, but that's a big number for him.
Okay. By the way, if you guys are not Scores and Odds premium members, it just seems insane. I just want sports betting in Texas so bad so that I can just tail all of the experts' picks and then just get rich. Like, I can't promise you you'll get rich. I'll get fired if I do that. But it sure seems like they are just crushing in there all the time. And so if you have not signed up for Scores and Odds Premium, just get a bunch of the RotoGrinders experts who know a lot about sports and a lot about sports betting, just crushing it in there. So check it out if you have not done so. Steve O says, hey, who's the Dodgers long man tonight?
I don't think they have one. I think they're just going to roll through a bunch of different guys tonight.
Okay.
And I forget who we had earlier. If I had more time, we've only got 2 minutes to lock, but I really don't think they're using anybody for more than 2 innings tonight.
All right. We'll go to a side. FanDuel 3v3. Dre, you want Judge, Adames, Naquin, or Seager, Muncy, Moose?
Seager, Muncy, Moose.
All right. Same guy, new question. DK 2v2 cards. This one's for you. Seager, Judge, or Casty, Trey?
What was the format again?
It was. It just says DK 2v2. Seager, Judge, or Castellanos, whatever. I cannot say that guy's name. Casty and Trey Turner.
First one.
Castellanos.
Castellanos.
Is there like an Enye somewhere involved?
No, just the L's. The N is what's throwing you off.
Castellanos. Nope. AJ Pollock to hit a home run. Yes or no, gentlemen?
Yes.
I'll say no.
Okay, you got one.
Let's see what his odds are. I got it up here. If they even
Cave or Newt Bar as a punt, 21 hundo one off.
Love Newt Bar. He's a good guy. When we I guess I'll park it. Or is there other questions, or is this the last question?
This is the final question. FanDuel
Okay.
single entry, Cave or Newt Bar is a punt 2,100 one-off, or should I just move something around?
No, I mean cave if you have to choose.
Yeah.
But
Cave, yeah, full power.
I was 6 feet away from Lars Newt Bar when we went to St. Louis, and was the first one to know internally that he was getting demoted, because we stayed right across the street from the stadium, and they drove him over to the hotel where we were staying in a golf cart with all of his Memphis Redbirds gear, because he was getting demoted. So he had to spend the night in the hotel and then go get on a plane back to Memphis the next day.
Oof.
Which sucked for him, but they've had some more injuries and he's back with the big club and he's actually been decent lately. So
What was his name? Lars Newtbar?
yeah,
Is
it's
that-
a great name too.
It's
So,
amazing. I'm rooting for that guy forever.
yeah, he's
That's
gonna have a
wonderful.
candy bar in St. Louis someday if he makes it. So.
Beat Boz says, "Hey, good luck to everyone. Devin, grab an IPA." He said it, Devin. You got to do it, man.
I mean, I don't want to make him a liar.
Exactly. He told you to do it. You got to do it. That's that. We have hit lock. See if there's any more questions here. Jay says, hey, if you're playing 3 lineups, was it essential to have left significant funds on the table on a 3 lineups? That's a great question.
I don't
Cards?
think so. No, I mean, I don't mind doing it, but I don't think you have to.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think you have to do it, but it's not a bad option.
Okay. Steve O says, Drizzy, good luck at the FanDuel World Chip. I'm assuming you're going to be in the DK one as well. That's a bold assumption. I don't know. Are you?
I hope so. I haven't,
Okay.
haven't got lucky there yet. I've been trying to. Those seats are hard to come by. I missed out on like 3 seats by literally like a 9th inning play by somebody in every time. So it's been rough for me over there.
Yeah, that just seems like the hardest thing to chase, because it's basically right. If you come first, you're good. If you come second, sucks to be you, right?
Exactly, pretty much, yeah.
It sucks, man. Yeah. All right, let's see if there's any more questions. If not, we can jumping around here between the YouTube and the Discord. But I think we're good here. I think we're doing good. Chinatown with a mention of Walkin' in Memphis from Mark Cohn. Do you guys know the song Walkin' in Memphis from Mark Cohn?
I do not.
I mean, I think that's been remade by several different artists.
It has,
assuming
yes.
it's
But
the same
Mark Cohn, ma'am, I am tonight walking in Memphis.
I mean, I know the song, but I don't know. Like, I don't. His version doesn't. Was he the original?
I don't think he was the original, but his version is just elite. It's like the most famous version, I think, even though someone super famous did it. Like, I don't know, some old country
Well,
lady.
Cher did it.
Right, there you go.
It's pretty famous.
Yeah.
Go
Go ahead, do yourself.
I'll be darned. It composed and originally recorded by Mark Cohn.
There you go.
I did not know that. Now I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to listen to it.
Listen to that version. It is phenomenal. That's your homework for tonight. We are going to get on out of here. Your other homework, and this is actually more important than listening to Mark Cohen walking to Memphis, is if you're not a RotoGrinders premium member, what are you doing? Sign up. You get $10 off, whether you get the combo or you just get one sport. We got football coming up. We just have so many ridiculous sports experts that work here, and you get content from all of it. You get the best lineup builder in the biz. So go ahead, sign up. You get the tools, the personalities, and the brains. So sign up RotoGrinders Premium, $10 off your first month. With that, we are going to get on out of here for Cards, for Dre, and of course, for Devin working hard behind the scenes. Guys, we appreciate you. We love it. We will catch you tomorrow. Dre, good luck. Take it down. You
Good
have
luck.
been
Thanks.
crushed.